The past few months have brought us a lot of discussion about the supposed Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake that Ubisoft is reportedly working on. And over the past few days, there's been a lot of news supporting the idea that it's coming sooner than we've expected, and maybe even better than we thought it was. Obviously tonight we have the PlayStation State of Play event, which a lot of people were speculating would be where the remake is officially revealed. New leaks say that will not be the case, though it's still possible, but the current common belief among insiders is that Ubisoft is preparing to showcase the game on its own in the near future, possibly even within the next month. Release windows for the game have been very flexible, but it's believed that a 2026 release is still on the table. And honestly, the timing makes a lot of sense. Ubisoft has been in an interesting position lately, restructuring, delaying projects, and trying to refocus the Assassin's Creed brand. A remake of one of the most beloved entries in the franchise could be exactly the kind of momentum boost they're looking for. Black Flag isn't just another entry. For a lot of fans, it really is the best Assassin's Creed game. So it's definitely a risk, and I'm waiting to see what the remake reveal kind of looks like. But I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, what kind of remake will this be? We've heard a lot from the insiders. Since it's not simply a remaster, a lot of the things are supposedly going to be reworked. The Caribbean is said to be expanded to a large extent, and the large cities will reportedly feature more interior spaces, denser populations, and more activities to be done. The naval combat should retain the same feel, drawing on what Ubisoft learned from Skull and Bones, to add more depth to that classic system. Both emergent encounters and side content are expected to be heavily improved, at least according to the leaks, including more in-depth reputation systems, new enemy types, and enhanced combat. The graphics will be upgraded significantly, especially the water systems, and customization is reportedly being expanded as well. Honestly, if even half of that's true, that would be wonderful. This would be essentially a full-scale rebuild, and that's where things get really interesting. Black Flag already had one of the strongest gameplay loops in the franchise. Sail, explore, board ships, upgrade the Jackdaw, hunt for treasure, dive into shipwrecks. It was very addictive. Expanding that sandbox could either elevate it into something incredible or risk making it too complicated and overworked. The reported expansion of the Caribbean is especially interesting. Imagining larger islands, more hidden caves, and more naval strongholds would be really cool, especially with a more in-depth dynamic weather system affecting travel and combat. Black Flag's ocean already felt really alive back in 2013. With modern hardware and updated engine tech, the sea itself could become one of the most impressive environments Ubisoft has ever created. And if the cities are denser, more interactive, that could finally bridge the gap between the pirate game feeling of the game and the classic Assassin's Creed urban stealth experience. Naval combat retaining its original feel is also crucial. The system was lightning in a bottle. It was weight on the cannons, the sound design, boarding enemy ships, it all just kind of worked. Drawing from lessons learned on Skull and Bones could add more technical depth and maybe more ship variety and better AI tactics or expanded customization. But they have to be careful not to turn it into something overly grindy or overly complicated. And then there's combat on land. Black Flag's combat system was very much of its era. It was super basic, stylish animations, counter-based, but not incredibly deep. If they modernize it closer to something like Origins or even Mirage, that could drastically change the feel of the game, whether that's for the better or the worse. I can't really say, but it would definitely shift the identity quite a bit. The scariest thing about this remake is that we don't know much about how the story will be handled, other than reports that the modern day segments will not be included, which is awesome. Obviously, as a remake, changes will happen to the story. We don't know how significant those changes might be, and that's very scary. I personally would hate it if the story were changed in a major way, since the original one is just one of my favorite games of all time. Edward Kenway's character arc is the heart of Black Flag. Watching him go from a selfish privateer chasing fortune and glory to someone who actually understands the creed, that journey is what made the game feel resonant. The supporting cast, from Blackbeard to Adewale to Mary Reed, felt grounded and surprisingly emotional. If Ubisoft trims or rewrites major portions of that narrative, it could fundamentally change what made the original so special. At the same time, removing the modern day segments is great. Nobody liked that. Black Flag's modern day story was not loved at all. Removing it entirely suggests that Ubisoft may be trying to streamline these remakes, focusing purely on the historical fantasy and cutting down the franchise baggage. That would make the experience cleaner for new players, and longtime fans, I think, are just ready to see that stuff go. Another big question for me is tone. Black Flag balanced pirate fantasy with the assassin philosophy in a way that felt surprisingly natural. If this remake leans too hard into the pirate side and downplays the assassin elements, it risks becoming something else entirely. But if it leans too hard into modern Assassin's Creed RPG mechanics, it would lose the tight pacing, it would lose the story, and the entire identity of the original game. The Black Flag remake is possibly going to be the first of many remakes of older Assassin's Creed titles, depending of course on how this one performs. If it succeeds, we could be looking at remakes of games like Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, or even the original Assassin's Creed. This could be Ubisoft testing the waters, not simply just revisiting nostalgia, but really trying to redefine the classic Assassin's Creed feel that so many people are missing right now. That puts a lot of pressure on this project. It has to satisfy longtime fans who hold Black Flag in such a high regard, like myself, while also appealing to newer players who may not have entered the series, or newer players who entered the series through Origins, Odyssey, or even Valhalla. That's not an easy balance. While I'm still worried about it for sure, I'm also cautiously optimistic. Black Flag is one of those rare games that felt so special all the time and still holds up so well today. A thoughtful remake could preserve everything that made it great while smoothing out some of those edges, but a careless remake could turn it into something unrecognizable. And when you're dealing with a game that means this much to people, that is a serious risk. At the end of the day, we're still in leak territory. Nothing is officially confirmed beyond speculation and insider reports. Until Ubisoft steps onto a stage or drops a trailer out of nowhere, everything should be taken with at least a little skepticism. But what do you guys think? Are you looking forward to a Black Flag remake? Do you want to stay almost identical to the original, or would you prefer bold changes and expansions? I'm still not entirely sure what to think, especially since I've heard a lot of leaks about possibly deleting the old version or replacing the old version. A lot of things that I don't know if are true. I've really tried to only provide information here that I truly believe that come from reputable leakers. So I'm still kind of waiting. Hopefully though, we get a much clearer picture once it's officially revealed in the coming weeks. But if you liked this video and want to hear more about Black Flag and everything surrounding this remake, make sure to subscribe and leave a like on this video. It means so much to me. And let me know in the comments, what do you want absolutely not changed about this game? Because for me, that list is a lot longer than I personally would like to admit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video. I look forward to covering this game in the future as well as many others. I'll see you in the next one.